In Love with Chekov, written and performed by Schlanger.
Hi, this is from my memoir, Far Out. I am an old hippie. In the early 70s, I lived at Forest Creek, an anarchistic commune deep in the woods of coastal Oregon. Our simple back-to-nature life had many complications. When it got dark to read and cook, we lit kerosene lanterns, and our world was just illuminated by the soft glow. Outside the small log cabin we all shared, the only sound was the wail of the coyotes in the wind. Inside, we were the best of friends, telling stories, reading, playing chess. Time just melted. On very cold nights, as heat rose, all 14 of us slept in the loft we had built by hand in the main space. Our sleeping bags were laid side by side on foam mattresses. One night, I lay in the loft on my back reading Black Elk Speaks. The others, including Ginger, a visiting ex-nurse, sat downstairs, or rather, she sat down ladder. We didn't have stairs, we just had this ladder. And we were all just talking softly. And Ginger had been married to this man named Doc. And Doc was a much-loved man in our circle because not only was he an excellent, excellent dentist, but he also worked for barter, and he also worked in cases of real need for free. And Doc had recently dumped Ginger for Meadow, who was Ginger's best friend. And, Ginger was terribly wounded, but she did her very best to put on a good face. It was clear that she wanted and felt that she had to find another man. And I want you all to know that living in the remote rural Northwest is tough and very lonely for a single woman. And Ginger's desperation was really apparent. She gave off this powerful musk as she arched her back and swung her hips seductively. Every move that she made cried, "Take me, take me, please take me." We had men, and Ginger wanted one, the very best that she could get. After the dinner dishes had been washed at the indoor hand pump, Ginger decided to take a sponge bath by the light of her own kerosene lantern. Now, I closed Black Elk, and I watched her from my sequestered spot high up in the loft. First, Ginger filled a bucket with water that had been heated on our wood stove, and then she slid off her Pendleton shirt. No bra. She stood naked to her waist in her own spotlight. My heart sank. She was doing her mating dance to us all, but was in heat, particular for Clint, my old man. Clint was enormously attractive to women, but Ginger could have easily settled for any man who lived with us. There was Guy and Rockmont and Stu and Smoke and Dancing Bear and Rocky and Bruce. The general female rating was up, most pointedly mine, and because I had this single bird's eye view focus on her solo performance. Now, these were my thoughts on free love. No way. Love was not free. I'd given up my career, my home in New York, and my fabulous women support group to be with the man that I loved. Nothing revolutionary about that. Mine was an old-fashioned choice, and I could not be swayed from it. Clint, who had been married before, felt that the institution cursed a relationship and had no interest in a formal commitment. He believed that our devotion to our lives together could not be assured by a piece of paper. And I totally agreed. I didn't need the state or the federal government in my personal life. Ho-ho. Taxes were not an issue. We didn't have any. We didn't pay any. And joint property, well, everything we owned, everything and nothing in common. I loved the concept of freedom of choice, knowing that every day of our lives we could be together. I never wanted to marry, ever. Isadora Duncan, that consummate artist and innovator, had had her children out of wedlock, and so would I. The thought that her children tragically wound up at the bottom of a river, and that Isadora herself was accidentally strangled by her own foolish and dramatic clothing choices didn't